right, so we'll go ahead and kind of jump in here. So some common finds in testing labs today. Kind of the things we typically see in this kind of a lab would be measurement instruments, could be weight, scales, could be force or torque transducers. Very common test stands, either material test or actual built-up test stands for specific tests. Reference materials, different standards, et cetera, data acquisition, instrumentation, and supporting software for all testing needs that are going on. Typically, you're also going to find environmental monitoring and safety equipment. Known lab conditions are important to have where possible. And then, of course, maintenance, repair tools, torque wrenches, things like that. And many labs will also have different metrology equipment and the associated certifications to go with said metrology equipment. The different kinds of testing labs that we typically see, and we'll get a little bit more specific into the subsets in the following slides here, but commonly we'll see structural testing labs. These are folks that are doing tension, compression testing, bending, testing, static strength, fatigue testing, hardness testing on different materials, components, or assemblies. Again, that's a very broad range of different products that would undergo that type of a testing, and we'll again parse that more closely in the coming slides. Environmental testing labs, they're looking for the impact of environmental factors on the same kinds of products, components, validating performance over temperature, perhaps in humid environments, salt spray environments, up to and including vibration testing. Electrical testing labs, these guys are qualifying different electrical components via verifying the electrical properties of the components, checking for insulation resistance, continuity, dielectric strength, those types of things, up to and including certifying for perhaps hazardous environments. Chemical testing labs working to determine the composition in purity materials, could be chromatography, could be spectroscopy, could be elemental analysis. Sometimes there is a force component to that type of testing. Perhaps they need to apply a force and then see what that chemical does after that force is applied. Product safety testing, folks that are making sure that things are perhaps being tested to an ASTM standard or meet certain product requirements. Calibration testing labs, that's one near and dear to Interface's heart. Essentially, they're ensuring that measuring instruments and equipment are calibrated and reliable. And of course, the other important component there is making sure that they're maintaining measurement traceability back to their requirements. Non-destructive testing labs, perhaps they're doing ultrasonic testing, magnetic particle inspection, things like that where they're not actually damaging the component under test. Testing customers and lab deliverables. So test labs are performing independent validation and verification services, or they can also be an extension of an in-house research and development or compliance testing. Very broad range and focus from very specialized testing to very broad-based testing. So, and again, we'll touch more on that in the coming slides. We are seeing a trend in the increase in testing lab demand, particularly in some business segments or market segments that have a high number of new startup companies that may not have that in-house research and development or testing team. So that outside testing lab support requirement seems to be growing over the recent years. The requirements and performance expectations around allowable uncertainty and just the rigor at which these products are being tested is also beginning to increase. And of course, there are certifications that are often required to make sure that they're meeting the needs of specific test protocols. Certifications, credentials, as I just touched on there are different certifications that are required. Things like ISO 17025, ISO 9001, AS 9100. And then there are different certification bodies such as A2LA or UCAS that would be actually certifying specific labs to these certifications and standards.